Yes. Yeah.
But like the comparison, like with me and some of the other guys.
So that'd be something neat to see, the Harris Centers.
The Pirates playing in Williams.
All right, welcome back to the third period. Now, this one's going to be an interesting one just because of what this is, and I know a lot of people love seeing this in sports in general. Bench clearing brawls. So this could be interesting, especially with baseball. I mean, it seems like baseball, there's always a bench clearer at one point.
At one point in the season, there's always a good one.
Yeah.
Every season you get at least one really good one.
So I know, the one baseball one that you brought up to me was the Reds and Pirates brawl. When was that? You said 2019?
I'm pretty sure it was 2019 because it wasn't last year. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 19.
Yeah, because
that one's one that, to me, that's going to be one of the wildest ever. Just the way Amir Garrett approached the whole situation.
Well, the fact that it's funny that there's 40 game bans between, I want to say, I actually got a list right here. 1, 2, 3, 8, like 9 players.
Right.
So 40 between them, and one got traded to the Indians right after the incident.
Yasiel Puig, wasn't it?
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it was Puig got traded right after that.
Yep. His reason for his suspension was aggressive actions for a 3-game span.
Yeah. Poor Puig, man. So much talent and just couldn't get his head right.
There was one of the suspensions. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. That's just a butcher right there. He plays for the Pirates. He played for the Pirates. Got a 10-gamer. Intentionally throwing at head, instigating brawl. Yeah, it's that. I can only imagine. I mean, after watching some of the highlights of that, it's like, wow.
Well,
that's going to be interesting to see how that ends up.
And did you watch the video kind of to recap it?
I watched some of it.
Like, I've never seen any pitcher just take off the mound like that.
Yeah, like I said, it's wild.
That was the second one that year, though, between the Pirates and the Reds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was the second brawl that year. I do remember that because the first one was kind of, if I'm not mistaken, the first one might have been initiated by Puig.
We'll figure.
And then this one, I'm pretty sure the Pirates were getting at Garrett, and they were getting ready to pull Garrett anyway. And dude just lost his cool.
Are they rivalries though? I didn't think they were rivalries to kind of have that kind of blood between
I don't
them.
know how anybody could be rivals with the Pirates.
Because it's the Pirates.
Yeah, it's the Pirates. So it's hard to believe that there's any rivals to them, but I guess if there was one, it would be the Reds.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting on that one. Just kind of see that. Yeah, all I know is that had to be interesting to watch. How think about being at it. Thinking about being at the game.
Yeah, I haven't seen too many in-person baseball brawls just because they're so sporadic.
I've never seen a baseball one. I've came close to seeing a hockey one in Hershey at the old arena, but I never seen one in person. At a baseball game. But the fact that this one led to a 40-game suspension between those players, that's it's bad at that point.
Right.
Then you have one for in hockey that basically it wasn't even marked as no penalties were given because it happened before the game. Yeah, it was a fight back in the 80s where it was, I think it was, if I'm looking at my notes right, if I have the right game here, it's the Canadians and the Flyers, and shenanigans were going. Like there's teams now. They always have shenanigans. During warm-ups and that. A player will, one player from each team will stand on the ice, and whoever, the last one to be out on the ice wins. Just small shenanigans like that. But when you start shooting at other players' nets, that could cause a big thing, because this actually had players from the Philly locker room, because players were in the locker room, and they came out. And they were like in flip-flops, shorts, just to be a part of this. And the fact that no penalties were given, because it was before a game. The game didn't even start yet. So they couldn't even give out penalties.
That to me is one thing that's kind of like, that's one thing that hockey's missing a little bit today, is we don't see it. I mean, the bench clearing brawls are great. You don't see them, like we said, you don't see them that much in any sport. But good fights, you don't see them as much anymore as what you used to, and that's kind of what I've been thinking on a little bit with hockey. Is like, do you think if enforcers were still around in hockey, do you think that would help viewership?
No,
because
I don't think I don't think there'll be that many enforcers around in general in today's game, just because of just the speed of the game. Because enforcers, all they were known for is fights. That's it. That's all they were known for. Because on Netflix, I know me and Jason discussed this already in previous episodes, and if you get a chance to, it's on Netflix. I believe it's on Netflix. It's called Ice Guardians. It's basically about enforcers. It's a documentary about enforcers, and it's a great documentary on how it is as an enforcer. And when you're known for just that, just fighting and all that, in today's game, it's not going to work because of the speed. The actual enforcers are not going to be able to keep up with the play because of today's talent.
I think I might have watched that documentary now that you say that. I think it's like Ice Guardians, The Last Enforcers, or something
like that. Yeah. But in today's game, I don't think it would work just because of the speed of the game. For that, you would have to have a talent of like Ovechkin, going back to him, because he's just that big of a player that he is just has the speed and he has the size. Yeah. So for him, it would work. But if you have just fighting talent and that's it, I think you would hurt your team more, because you're not going to be able to, if you have to, be up in the play. Because normal enforcers, enforcers are normally just kept on the bench and just said, "Hey, go get that guy." In theory. But in today's game, I don't think it would work, because right now, you tap somebody with a stick, you get a slashing. In today's rules.
It's a little bit softer of a game.
Yeah, yes.
Just to touch on that too, nobody's wanting to throw hands with Ovi.
Well,
he slept that poor kid.
Yeah, but that's it was a kid, but the kid picked the fight.
Yeah.
The kid went after the big dog. The big dog didn't back down.
Yeah, big dog bit.
Yeah, he did all right. But when you see like the big names, like let's say Tom Wilson from the Capitals, he would be considered of a today's enforcer.
Yeah, he's a modern day enforcer.
Yeah, players like that you would see now you don't see, like you said, the fights that you normally would see with teams, because unless you're rivals,
right?
Unless like Pittsburgh and Philly, or Philly and Washington, Pittsburgh and Washington. Notice how it's always those three teams. But
there's a lot of tension in the area. If you put a circle around what you just.
Oh yeah. Well, between Pittsburgh and Philly, it's always the Battle of Pennsylvania. You look at Pittsburgh and Washington, it's Crosby versus Ovechkin. because the times that, and this is pretty funny with this, when Crosby won his back-to-back Stanley Cups, they went through Washington. They went through the Capitals. They beat the Capitals. They won. Now in 2018, when the Capitals beat the Penguins, Capitals won the Cup.
Yep.
But they went through Pittsburgh. I just found it funny how the winner of that series basically determined the Cup.
Right.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, with today's the enforcers of the 90s and 80s would not make it in today's game. That's my feeling. They would not make it in today's game because it's just too fast for them. You know,
and I think you can even tell with and Tom Wilson's no slouch, but Tom Wilson's also not the most talented guy on the ice.
Well, the thing is, though, if you're an enforcer, you don't have to be that talented. You just got to skate and throw punches. In theory. I mean, yeah, no, he's no slouch. I mean, he's not like a Connor McDavid or Ovi.
Yeah.
But he you plant yourself in front of the net, right? You're going to get goals. And that's the thing. If you plant yourself in position, if you play position hockey, you're going to get somewhere. But when you're an enforcer, your position is whoever's in front of you.
Right.
Whoever you're told to go get. I mean, like I said, it's my opinion on forcers in today's game, on why it would not work. Because you don't see that many in the AHL to begin with.
No.
You don't see that. And that's where a lot of the enforcers were coming from, because it even says in the documentary where players, the documentary of Ice Guardians, where players would be brought up just for that sole purpose, just to fight. They'd be brought up just from one to the other.
I do know Hershey's got one guy right now, Cal Kesey, who is literally, it just seems like he's in Hershey to fight.
Well, I forget, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, Scott Parker. He was a big guy. He made his way up to the NHL. I think he played for Colorado a couple of games, got traded to San Jose, but he was considered an enforcer just because of his size. And like I said, it's just one of those things to where back then, yeah, it would work. In today's game, it won't. In my opinion, it won't work. Just because of the speed of the game. It's a lot faster than it was back then.
Mm-hmm.
So, which, in my opinion, which is why I think you don't see the bench clearing brawls that you would see back then. All the fights that would come about. Now, the baseball fight between Batista.
Ooh.
Yeah, that one went well. I completely forgot about that one until you brought that one up. I completely forgot about that one.
It's one of those, because if you just look up brawls, baseball brawls, and bench clearing baseball brawls, it's always just that. Like, I don't know if it's something that you should kind of talk highly about, but to me, it's the number one. It's got to be maybe behind Nolan Ryan. It might be the second greatest baseball fight ever.
Well, the fact that Batista, I feel he almost got knocked out.
Oh my God!
I mean, he went dazed. And when you look it up, and when you show the video that I posted for us, slowed down the impact. And when you could see the helmet, the sunglasses, and you could see that he clearly got him right on the jaw, and you could see just his face just kind of like, yeah, he got cranked.
It was such a clean shot.
Clean, yes.
It was just.
Yeah, I mean, you could not ask for a cleaner shot.
No, and I mean, because a lot of the time these guys come out swinging like that, they're missing. Oh
yeah, missing. They're basically they're just swinging their glove. That's really all they're doing.
And a lot of them are just waiting for one of their teammates to grab a hold of them and break it up, to be honest. But
when he just got that right.
You could just tell Batista was not. He wasn't expecting that.
He was. I mean, he was somewhere else. When he got hit, you can tell he went somewhere else because he went down, he dipped back, and you knew he was dazed.
I said that to you earlier. That the best part of that was the commentator to me, the guy doing the play-by-play, goes, "Now Odor is 3 for 4 today." He had 3 hits against the Blue Jays today. I'm like, that's just too funny.
Yeah, his third hit being a good punch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's so funny in baseball. You normally see when, like, a batter gets hit, everybody on the bench is just like up, and then when you see the bullpen coming out, by the time they get to everything, it's already broken up because they're coming out from the outfield.
I always find it so stupid, honestly, when you got the bullpens running out from the outfield. Now, when a big brawl breaks out and they're sprinting out, like trying to break it up, yeah, that's fun. But a lot of the time, they're just kind of loafing out and trying to get there. But
by the time they're halfway out to it, it's already broken up because they're coming way out there.
Yeah. I'm just sitting there thinking, if they're running out there like that, they got to be. I mean, I'm gonna be out of breath. You got to be running from center field to home plate,
from far center field at that.
Yeah,
But yeah, when he got, I mean, yeah, I don't think he was expecting that clean right cross. And the fact it's funny though, when they slowed down the video, like I said, you just see his face just like, ah.
And Odor, man, like, it kind of like Odor and he still is a good player. But like, to me, that kind of set Odor up too. Like, he was already kind of a known player, but everybody knew who Ravner Odor is after that.
Yeah. And of course, everybody knew who Batista was just because he just got laid out.
And when you look at Joey Bats, man, you would think that, like, I'm just saying, Odor, Batista, I'm going to take Batista most of the time in a fight. But after that, I was like, Odor ain't playing around.
After watching this, it reminded me of the Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
The Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Because he just got hit, and all of a sudden you see his helmet, his glasses go flying. Because in Rock'em Sock'em Robots, your head just pops up.
I was getting ready to say his glasses and his helmet was the head popping up.
Yep. And the fact that it only took one hit for all that to disperse, and it was a quality hit. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not endorsing fighting in sports like this, but in baseball, but when the emotion's high, and he was not expecting it, that's for sure. Oh, but that was definitely a good one. Like I said, I completely forgot about that one until you brought it up. But beforehand, it's like, oh, right.
There's so many good ones though, really. And I say good ones, like I'm not saying I don't condone fighting. If you want to fight, be a boxer. But
mixed martial arts, whatever, do that. Don't, it's not a place for sports. Just, I mean, depending on what the sport is, if it's stoned in sports. But in baseball, you normally don't see it in general.
No. And it goes back to this too. Like, everybody has an opinion on, if a guy bat flips and gets thrown at, everybody has an opinion on that. Like, you got a lot, like the old school mentality is you don't bat flip. You just,
the unwritten rules.
Yeah. You touch them all, go to the dugout. And that's one way I think baseball, and it's kind of getting a little bit off subject, but where baseball's changing, and I think it's changing for the better, is the allowing guys to, in the sense, as they like to say, is to pimp a home run. Like, to me, you look back at the 2019 World Series with the Nats, because, like, that's my team, so that's where I'm going to jump back to. You had Bregman walk down the first baseline after he hit the home run and dropped the bat. Well, later on in the night, Soto goes deep and does the bat drop going down the first baseline. And, you wouldn't have seen that 15
No.
years ago.
No, you
If they
wouldn't.
had done that 15 years ago, they'd have been thrown at the very next at bat.
Oh yeah.
If there would not have been a fight before they even got to home plate.
It's always
But-
interesting when the ump comes out and warns both benches
Yeah.
beforehand.
But yeah, I think that's one way that baseball, I think, is changing for the better in that sense, though. Allowing guys to do it. Because the reality is if you want to celebrate after you strike somebody out, guys like Mad Max, Kershaw, big time pitchers, they're excited after they strike somebody out. And normally you can tell when they've done it.
It's the emotion.
Yeah. And it's the same thing. Like the fact that baseball is actually allowing that emotion to come out for the batter now as well. Love it. And the reality is it's going to stop a lot more of these bench clearing brawls that we've been talking about.
Yeah, because it's all like pent up rage, basically.
Right.
And less batters are going to get hurt because of being hit by pitches and things like that. Now, don't get me wrong, it does happen because a pitcher tries to throw inside and they get a little too far inside. It happens.
But you can always tell when it's a bad pitch
or it's intentional.
Fastball.
Because it's direct straight at the player. You can tell that it's off a little bit. Okay, that's an accident. Got a little too much inside. But yeah. But I know when it comes to bench clearings, back in going to hockey here, back in 2004 in March, this actually I think set the record. I think it still holds too for most penalty minutes in a game. This one did count for penalty minutes. I think there was 419 total penalty minutes in the game between the Flyers and the Senators. Because I was actually watching the game. I remember sitting in my parents' basement watching this game. And I was just like, really, this is happening? I think by the end of the game, there may be, I want to say 3-4 players on each side on the bench, plus whoever else was out on the ice. Because it was just that many fights in the game. Even the goalies were going at it. It's funny because when you watch a goalie skate up and all of a sudden you can just see him take off his helmet and just throw it down, take off his blocker, do that whole thing. Like, oh, this is going. Here we go.
You know what one we forgot about? This past season with the Caps.
Trying to remember here.
Remember Tom Wilson took the shot at the guy for the Islanders?
Now I gotta try to look this up here. Yeah, I'm trying to remember that because I know Tom Wilson was in a topic.
Yeah, because they were talking about there was a lot of people that thought Tom Wilson should get banned.
Oh yes, I remember because I think me and Jason talked about that one already with the Rangers.
The Rangers.
It was with the Rangers. Me and Jason did talk about that one on a previous episode on what they should do if his suspension, or I think he got a suspension. I'm trying to remember here, because he should have gotten worse than what was given for what he did. And in the videos you watch of that, it shows him coming down on a defenseless player without a helmet. And okay, yes, the emotions, yes, they scrambled, yes, the helmet come off, but it looked like the intent to injure was there.
Right.
Is what it looked like. But yeah, no, I think, yes, me and Jason we did talk about that one, and that one was a bad one.
Well, the fight after.
Yeah, that was.
I think the game started, and as soon as they dropped the puck, 3 fights.
I think it was the next game. I think that was the next game that actually happened. The next game, as soon as I think it was not even 5 minutes into the game, both boxes were full.
Yeah, because
I think it was
when they dropped it, 3 fights.
Yep, the whole front line dropped.
And I feel like
all I know is throughout the game, that's all you saw was.
And when as soon as Tom Wilson hit the ice,
that crowd went nuts.
Well, and they were on him. Like, I don't remember who it was for the Rangers, but like as soon as he touched the ice, he might have gotten 20 feet from the bench, and they was on him. He was fighting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because it's just how it was. I mean, it's trying to get retribution just because of how much of a light suspension, or I think all he got was a fine. I think it was. All he got was a fine for that. It
wasn't very much that he got.
And I know we actually talked on a topic between that game and a Flyer player who got a suspension. I think it was for a slash. That wasn't as bad as what Wilson did, but the fact that Wilson definitely he got hammered on that whole game. I mean, he was headhunted. And I think it was after the first period, I think things started to calm down. Like the Rangers got their retribution.
The first period, and there was still like one or two fights in the second. But
I think after that, it just kind of mellowed.
Oh yeah, because I remember that now. Tom Wilson, as soon as he hit the ice, he got in a fight, and then he never came back because he
got injured.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was like, okay, retribution's good, done. Let's just play. Me and Jason did talk about that one a while back, just because of the severity of what he got compared to what other players got on lighter issues. But that one was a bad one. It's always funny when you see the penalty boxes full that, they reach max capacity. But yeah, with that game, with the Flyers back in 2004, 419 minutes.
That's crazy.
You don't see that. You definitely don't see that.
No, and you're not going to see that today either. Like, I think what we've seen, the one we just talked about with the Caps and the Rangers, that's probably as close minutes-wise as we're going to get to that. But
yeah, it's definitely something that I'm trying to find something here. It's not giving me what I'm looking for, because I'm trying to see, like, I'm trying to find the NHL games that have a total minutes.
Yeah, the total overall.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's not giving me that. It's giving me individuals, but not games. But that's neither here nor there. So I was looking to see like how many minutes were in the Tom Wilson in the Caps Rangers game. I was trying to see if I could find that one real quick here.
I would say it's a decent amount.
Oh, I would say it definitely be a big amount. From what I think I have it here. I think the first, not even 5 minutes into the game, there were 72 minutes given. 72 penalty minutes were given within the first 5 minutes. Because according to the Flyers Ottawa game, the Philadelphia Ottawa game still hold the record for most penalty minutes in a game of 419. That's a lot of minutes.
That's a lot of fights going on in the midst of.
Well, the thing is that was all the third period. Because I brought up the Wikipedia of it here, and if you look it up and scroll down, you'll see the third period, just a long list. And what's funny is the next game, me and Jason went with my brother and my cousin down to D.C. for a Flyers Caps game, where forwards were playing defense because some of the players couldn't play because of the fights. But I mean, that's definitely a lot of minutes on that one here. Trying to see if I can find the game stats here on. Yeah, actually, the penalty minutes on that were less than 200. Because according to this, the Rangers had total penalty minutes of 85, and the Caps had 56.
Yeah, I would have thought more.
Yeah, I would have thought too. But of course, though, the first 5 minutes, like we just said, 72.
Right. That might actually be a record for the first 5 minutes of a game.
Yeah, it might. It might be a record on that one. It might be, just because of what it was.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of that with those two teams, because even after that game, I do remember, because I will jump in and out with the Cavs hockey. Even after that, there was chippiness.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see more of that this year, which I'm about it.
Yeah, I mean, when there's a place for it.
Right.
When there's a place for it. That's the thing. There has to be a place for that. So on that note, that'd be the end of the third period. Yeah, definitely those bench clearing brawls definitely do get interesting on how that comes about. Most definitely. So to wrap this up here, thank you for joining us for episode 29. John, thank you for joining, jumping in Jason's spot.
Anytime, man.
Yeah, this was great. So you can catch Jason every month on this Philly Baseball Together podcast with his co-host Tori. Once a month to bring Philly sports here to see the good, the bad. So being September 18th, Phillies played last night. So it would be considered last night at this point, which they did win 4-3 over the Mets. So that's a good start for them to add to their podcast. So thank you for joining us for episode 29 of the Non-Hour Sports Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/the Non-Hour Sports Pod. You can feel free to like, comment, subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. The Non-Hour Sports Podcast is available for streaming or download on Anchor FM, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and anywhere else you get your podcast from. So don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We will talk to you next time. I'm David.
And I'm John.
Have a good one.